these hyperventilation states, nitrous oxide states, states of alcoholic intoxication, states of orgasm, a whole spectrum of anesthetic states, the whole spectrum of states available through tropanes, daturas, and these kinds of things. What interests me is, I mean, I may have to retool my definitions after Salvia Divinorum, but what has always worked up until this year was to say what interests me are indole hallucinogens, this very small chemical family which are LSD, psilocybin, DMT, ibogaine, and the beta-carbolines. A small chemical family. And we can argue about this. Just recently I saw a wonderful quote. Now, who was it? It was either Goethe or Nietzsche, I can't remember, but the quote was, "Thinking is better than knowing, but seeing is best of all." And I thought that was very good support for my own bias in favor of hallucinations. People say I have a fetish for hallucinations. I mean, in a sense I do, because to me it's the sine qua non of what psychedelic exploration is about. Those of you who are sophisticated in these realms know that, for instance, LSD, what it really does is it makes your mind race. It makes you think thousands and thousands of thoughts. But it takes rather a lot of LSD to push you over into outright, overt visual hallucination. I mean, oh, hi, Paul. I thought it was God. It's just James B. Warner as God. You managed to throw me clear off the trail, dude. Anybody have a clue what I was talking about? Oh, LSD and how it doesn't really cause hallucinations, right? It causes walking wallpaper and stuff like that. But what I'm talking about, and this is worth talking about because it's hard to put this across to people, and a lot of people who think they know what psychedelics are about don't realize what we're striving for here. What we're striving for is overt, highly colored, stable, three-dimensional hallucinations of things previously unimaginable. That's the last clause is the kicker. In other words, not just the garbage of the surrealist imagination, pink elephants, giant bread knives, and the detritus of the 20th century, but things previously unimaginable. Because in confrontation with things previously unimaginable, one cannot help but be propelled to the conclusion that this is not me. How could it be you? It's weirder than anything you could possibly imagine. If that's part of the self, then the self requires a rather more expanded definition. We thought the self meant that which is most familiar and known to me, not the self, that which is utterly unimaginable, completely alien, and potentially utterly terrifying. That doesn't sound like the self. Yeah.
Well, would you say that the psychedelic realm is like an equivalent to our century as the New World was to the 14th century Europe? Or?
Well, that's a very good way of putting it. Yeah, I mean, literally, we've landed in new territory.
It's as big as the New World was to the Europeans?
It's not only as big, it may be as concrete. In other words, with all this talk about virtual reality, with all this talk about empowering the imagination, with all this talk of wandering off into the simulations of the computer-assisted mind, then we can't really tell, is it going to become where we live? Is it going to become no more intense than great art? Or is it going to spill over and become reality itself? I think this is probably what we're talking about, that what we have discovered here is the source of our own creativity. We've discovered, that in the same way that the primeval ocean is mirrored in our blood, the primeval ocean of creativity pours through the hyperdimensional labyrinth of the human mind. I mean, what is so impressive about these plants is in a burst of an hour's worth of hallucination, you have the impression that you're seeing more art than has been created in the last 30,000 years. You, Joe, anybody, have this stuff flowing through your head at some enormously compressed data rate. And trying to get a grip on this is literally like trying to empty Niagara Falls into a thimble. I mean, you come back and you cannot communicate it, indicate it, do anything about it, and yet you've been to the mountain. Yeah.
How would you get some psilocybin?